So the other day, we posted something on MLC Kids for Scythe, a little Brady Bunch, little picture of you guys with all the different things that would be happening at your house if people were quarantining with you. So there's some pretty fun things. I'm going to start with Stacey Brown. First of all, you said at your house would be cookies, singing and dancing, and Toby Mac. First things first, I just got to know, what type of cookies are we talking about here? Is it like Toll House, like pre-made? Are we talking like from scratch?
No. None of that pre-made stuff. In fact, I can't even show you right now because they are down in the oven and the smell is wafting up the stairs as we speak. I'm talking, these are Joanna Gaines' cookbook chocolate chip cookies. They are so good.
Okay, all right. I'm a big fan of cookies. Singing and dancing, that sounds pretty fun, especially if you're playing Toby Mac. But I wonder, could all that be happening at the same time? Could you be singing and dancing in the kitchen while you're baking cookies together?
Of course you can. And hey, I just don't limit it to Toby Mac too. I mean, we bust it out here all the time, everywhere, everybody. And hey, parents, guess what? I can even teach your children worship the letter W, so we can learn as we worship too.
Man, awesome. That's like Sesame Street over there.
Bring it on.
Can we just get a close-up of the microphone? I don't think I've ever seen such a glamorous microphone.
Oh yes.
That's
this
beautiful.
Is my mic.
All right. Next up on our Brady Bunch MLC Kids grid was Mandy Holcomb. So your ingredients for the most fun quarantine house are Cheez-It Grooves, basketball, and the Little Mermaid. So I don't know if I've ever had a Cheez-It Groove. Tell me about this.
Cheez-It Grooves are the jam. It's not regular Cheez-Its. They've got these bright little grooves that make them all crispy. And personally, I don't like Cheez-Its, but I like Cheez-It Grooves. So we typically always have a box or two of these at our house.
Declan, do those look good? She's saying Cheez-It Grooves are better than Cheez-Its. Would you agree? Oh, yeah, Declan agrees. All right.
Get approved.
All right. So basketball's a big thing there. Is that just kind of like a family sport in the Holcombs?
It is. Basketball is my favorite sport. I love the way they dribble up and down the court. I'm no good at it, though. Little secret, I always said I was a defensive player, and that just meant that I didn't ever make points when I played the game of basketball.
Wait, did you play, were you on a team growing up?
Yes. Yeah.
I never knew
middle
this.
school years, I joined a basketball team, which was not really the best decision looking back, but so yeah, we play basketball. It's our family game out in the driveway during quarantine season, and we'll play a couple of times a day.
There you go. That's fun. We've been out trying to play a little bit of basketball in our front yard as well. Declan's getting pretty good at it. But, I think you might be sparking a little bit of a Disney debate here. Little Mermaid, that's your go-to Disney classic?
She's the classic, and just in light of the wonderful Disney sing-along that they did a few days ago, just kind of Disney Channel, Disney Plus has been on our house pretty much repeat.
Oh yeah.
With Megan, so.
That's great. How about people in the chat right now comment what your favorite Disney classic is? We're not talking the live action remakes. I'm talking the animated Disney classics. So Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, all those things. Man, I could bust out in a song right now, but we got to move on to Miss Rachel.
I can bust out in song if you want me to.
All right, the Miss Brown and Miss Holcomb have made some really, really good convincing cases. Rachel, you said caramel trail mix, coloring and painting, and Jack Black. Like Jack Black movies, like Nacho Libre?
No, Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, Kung Fu Panda, nice. All right, so talk to me about this caramel trail mix. Is this something you make yourself, or is it something that's in stores?
I do. It has a mixture of whatever I want, like pirate booty and all that kind of stuff. But the cool part about my trail mix is that we can make napkins and stuff, all over the floor. Everything
wow.
goes. Everything goes here.
Wow, this sounds kind of like a frat or a sorority house or something.
Yeah,
Like Chapman may want to join your house.
exactly. We only
Okay.
have boys here, so we do a lot of karate chopping and Kung Fu Panda music, and super fun.
Okay, but coloring and painting, that's pretty cool. Got a little artsy side as well. So not only making a mess with the food, but make a mess with some arts and crafts.
Absolutely. We have markers, paints, everything. All the
That's amazing. Okay, what's happening here? Thanks. Declan thinks I need glasses right now. So, fun
He needs to be
fact
able to
about,
eat trail mix.
does that trail mix look tasty, buddy? Pretty good? It's got pirate booty in there.
And M&Ms and caramel and all the things.
M&Ms and caramel, awesome. Okay, you made a pretty compelling case with homemade trail mix. Erica, my wife, is up next, and I'm not voting. I've recused myself from this whole thing. I'm just kind of here mediating the big debate inside of MLC Kids. So Erica, you put Muddy Buddies, Puzzles, and Jimmy Fallon. I live with you, and I don't even know what a Muddy Buddy is.
Hang on one second.
What's a
You
Muddy
don't know
Buddy?
it.
Adelaide
this
just
is
brought
so
me
good.
a whole tray of goodies. There's all sorts of M&Ms and all that stuff. That's great. Oh, thank you. Oh,
Erica-
and they brought me coffee in bed too.
What is mommy doing? She's like in full out like nap mode right now.
Oh yeah,
Living the
it's
life.
fun and relaxing here. And I mean, if you're a kid, think about it. Puzzles, I got everything from Peppa Pig to like monster trucks to Mickey Mouse to Darth Vader.
We have a
I got
monster
all
truck
the
puzzle.
puzzles.
I'm
You
learning
missed
all
it.
these things about my own house. Just tell me real quick. I don't know what a Muddy Buddy is.
A Muddy Buddy is it's like puppy chow.
Oh, okay. It's like puppy chow.
So
All
it's
right.
Chex Mix with like chocolate, peanut butter, powdered sugar.
So when you say Jimmy Fallon, what do you mean? Are we like doing Jimmy Fallon games? Are we watching Jimmy Fallon videos? What's that all
He's the
about?
ultimate entertainer because he sings, he dances, he plays games, he has fun people at his house all the time. I mean,
Well,
I think it sounds pretty great.
yeah,
Hey,
Jimmy
Mommy.
Fallon is kind of a role model for me. So that's good. That's good, Erica. You made a good case. All right, Stacy Kersulik, you're up next, and you said what's going to be happy and fun in the Kersulik house is popcorn, crafts, and Walt Disney. So what kind of popcorn are we talking about? Like kettle corn, butter corn? Like what's going on here?
Oh, any kinds you want. Personally, we like fresh popcorn that we pop. Can you all see that? Yeah, popcorn with lots of butter. Has to have butter, hot, right? Everybody gets their own little popcorn thing to put it in. So lots of popcorn, bowls and bowls of popcorn, however you like it.
I'm a fan of buttery popcorn. That puts me in a very happy place.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Nathan, do you want to hear about the crafts?
Oh gosh, yes. Tell us
So-
all.
All right, so we have stamps, we have popsicle sticks. Got what else do I got down here? We've got clay, we've got paints, we've got all kinds of things. We can make whatever we think of.
So
Just
you mentioned
a
Walt
plethora.
Disney in here. I wonder, could we have like a Forky making contest from Toy Story 4?
Yes.
That'd be pretty fun. Forky might be in my top like 2 or 3 favorite characters of any Disney movie ever.
I can see that'll be the next thing that we'll be doing, right? Is doing
Yeah.
a contest.
All right, that's good. All right, so Disney is popular in a couple of households here, so I'm pretty happy about that. So let's move. Maui, what is this song you be? You're welcome. Yep, I'm a big fan of Maui. All right, Chapman. Last but certainly not least, Chapman leading it out, the fourth
Okay.
creative for Scythe location. Tell us what's happening. You have saltine crackers.
Okay, well,
Wait.
I fully acknowledge that those are not widely accepted, especially with children. But we also have lots of milkshakes, so that's my backup snack.
Wait, so your
I'm
snack time,
acknowledging.
your snack time is saltine crackers and milkshakes.
Yeah, because you take the salty side and you put it down on your tongue first. Oh, it's just like a salt vessel. It's fantastic.
Oh my!
I could eat a whole sleeve in like 10 minutes. It's so good. And then a milkshake, chocolate peanut butter to wash it down. Diabetes. It's so good. It's so good.
Make sure you wash down your saltine, boys and girls.
Exactly.
So you also
They're really good though.
Okay, yeah, you know,
They're
that
really
does
good.
kind of remind me. A lot of people say that at Wendy's it's good to like dip their fries in the
Yeah.
Steaks.
Oh, saltines in milkshakes? It could
Yeah.
just be like,
yeah. So that might be a little evolution for you.
that may
But
be
you,
pretty good.
You also put tennis and LeBron James. So how do those two things go together? What's
Well, it rained today, so we couldn't play tennis. But me and my brother, we go play tennis every day, and I win all the time. Never have lost ever, not once, to my brother who is taller than me and longer than me. And then we also have a basketball goal. So if we get tired of, he gets tired of losing, we go and we play basketball and stuff. But
Is that where you lose?
my main selling point, sure, yeah, he's taller, so we have fun at every sport. But this is my main selling point right here.
Oh,
This is
look
Tater.
at that.
Say hi, Tater. Hi. He is like like an Ewok if you like Star Wars. You know.
He is kind of just like going with the flow. Like he's not
Oh,
fighting
he's like
back.
a baby. He's a baby in a dog costume. He is now 70 years old and kicking it. But yeah, he can snuggle him. He's like a heated up loaf of bread is how I would describe him. He's just warm and squishy.
So Chapman definitely gets like the weirdest descriptions award.
Yeah.
So
I
hey,
guess so.
for everybody else who's watching from both Dawson or Forsyth this Sunday morning, tune in the chat and tell us which house sounds like the quarantine fun house. You got Mandy Holcomb, and she's got Cheez-It grooves. You've got homemade cookies at Miss Stacy's house. You've got caramel trail mix at Miss Rachel's house. You've got all the buttery popcorn you could want with the Kersulix. And at Erica, you got Muddy Buddies and puzzles and all kinds of fun stuff. So, hey, you guys vote in the chat room. You've seen it all here. We'll get back to service. Thank you, guys. Go MLC Kids. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Mountain Lake Church Online. My name's Nathan, one of the pastors here. I'm joined by Frank Beeler, our chief of staff here at Mountain Lake.
Hey, here's the interesting thing. If you've been tuning in for the last few weeks, you've had the better Beeler here over the last few weeks. Jessica's been hosting, and now I'm filling in, so I hope I can like somewhat fill her shoes.
Oh, yeah. Hey, y'all. Welcome
It's,
Frank in the
hey,
chat.
it's
Show him
good to
some
see you
love.
guys.
Wait, what you just saw when you tuned in was a Zoom call where our next gen team was kind of debating over whose house is
Right.
the coolest.
Right.
So, you know, there was cookies, there was candy, there was LeBron James.
They were getting a little aggressive on some of that eating. Rachel was like throwing it
She was
down.
going
Yes,
for it, man.
Going for it.
So, which one of those homes did you think you would prefer to quarantine
I don't know. It was your house, seeing Erica like with her little mug of coffee and the kids coming in
Yeah,
and just the distraction. And she just kept looking up going, you know, addressing the situation, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
so
It
that's,
looks calm in front of the
yeah,
camera,
that's-
chaos
yeah.
behind the
But
camera.
clearly something's going on. That's my house, so I think it
You
would
relate?
feel weird to be anywhere else, right? Yeah,
Score
so
one
that's
for the
it. Way to go.
Castleberries.
Awesome.
Hey, well, you were all quarantining. We're all trying to figure it out and make the most of it. And one of the ways that you can make the most of quarantine life at your house is by joining us in our Facebook group. It's a great way to get connected and maintain a sense of church family. There's all kinds of different ways you can also plug in, and our chat host will be linking those right now. We've got daily Bible studies happening at lunch and the evening. It's basically a way to just maintain your church family.
And stay sane, right? There's so much going on. Just to take that little pause, get into scripture, hear a word from you or Luke or whoever it may be, that's super helpful.
Yeah.
But I mean, to Nathan's point, being in that Facebook group, kind of being in the family, that's where we can put those prayer requests, those comments. I just feel like the engagement goes up a level, and where we don't get to do a lot of this,
Right.
it's really helpful. So make sure that you join in.
Yeah, don't miss out, because week after week we're seeing people do all the things that you normally do as part of a church. People are volunteering online, they're giving online, they're connecting online. So don't just attend church online. This is a chance to truly be a part of Mountain Lake online.
Now here's the cool thing with that. So You got all these different things going on, all these Bible studies, and we're showing up, and we've got a camera right now at somebody's house filming this. All that's available, all that happens because of your generosity. You know, if you weren't giving, we wouldn't be able to create all these unique experiences and make sure these things are happening. And it is so cool because we are seeing so many lives changed and touched through this ministry, even though the doors of the church are locked. You know, it's kind of closed down. We're getting some facility work done, went along the way, trying to take care of the building. But the reality is the church isn't just in that building, and it's your giving that's not funding a land payment or a building payment. It's funding ministry with people. And we're seeing that in a really cool way right now. So, hey, if you'd like to give or like to engage with us, you can text the letters down below to the number down below. And that way you'll be able to engage with us in a really good way through giving.
Yeah, thank you so much for your generosity. And we're seeing lives continue to be changed going to church online.
Oh, and I almost forgot. During the message today, you're going to hear a really cool story at the end of the message of how your giving is making an impact in the heartbeat of where the chaos is and the mess is. So be sure to stay tuned for the whole message, because at the end, I want you to see how your giving is really making a difference.
So normally at this point in the service, if we were in one of our buildings, we would ask you to kind of stand and greet your neighbor, but we can't do that. But you can greet the person in two places, in the living room and in the chat room. So say good morning to some of your church family and your family there with you.
Hey there, thank you so much for joining our church service today. Wherever you're at, would you do me a favor? Would you take a picture of where you're watching church at, and would you share it with us? Tag me or our church on Facebook or Instagram. We'll get you reposted, but we just would love to know where you're having church at. Because we may be separated physically, but man, we are together digitally. We just want to know how you're having church. And as always, if you like what you do, if you're a part of our church, would you do me a favor? Would you click on the online giving button, or they'll put the link in the Facebook messages below, or you can just go to our website, morelifechange.com, right there, and you can donate there. But because of your generosity, man, we were able to do all sorts of great things that God is calling us to do. I'm so happy that you're here. Let the online host know that you're here, and if we can pray for you, help you out in any way, let us know. On behalf of myself and everyone here, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the service.
Again, the wind is raging, but I will not be shaken, for I know who's in control. The greater one within me is more than what's against me. He's in control, for I know He'll see me through like before. He is Lord, He is Lord, and I'm not afraid anymore. He is Lord, He is Lord. a shout, the walls come down. Lift every voice, declare it now. Jesus Christ is Lord. And with a shout, the walls come down. Lift every voice, declare it now. Jesus Christ is Lord. And with a shout, the walls come down. Lift every voice, declare it now. Jesus Christ is Lord. He'll see me through like before. He is Lord. He is Lord. And I'm not afraid anymore. He is Lord. He is Lord. He'll see me through like before. He is Lord. He is Lord. And I'm not afraid anymore. He is Lord. He is Lord.
The weapon may be formed, but it won't prosper. And when the darkness falls, it won't prevail. 'Cause the God I serve knows only how to triumph. Oh, my God will never fail. No, my God will never fail. And I'm gonna see a victory. And I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. There's power in the mighty name of Jesus. And every war he wages, he will win. No, I'm not backing down from any giants. 'Cause I know how this story ends. Yes, I know how this story ends. And I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. Yes, I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. 'Cause you take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. Oh, you take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. I'm gonna see a victory. And I'm gonna see a victory. For the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory.
had a great time of worship together. And now it's time for us to open God's Word and hear a message from our pastor.
So I want you to do me a favor for a minute. I want you to go back in time to some of your earliest childhood memories when it comes to church. Maybe your parents took you, or your grandparents, or maybe a family friend brought you. And think about those memories. Some of them probably were good. Some were not so good. Maybe some were not existent. Maybe that just wasn't a thing for you. But I just want you to go back there for a minute and hang out in that mind space for a minute. So I'm a preacher's kid. I grew up in church, every single week. My dad was a church planner. And so I remember early on in church, we met in a shopping center, an old shopping center that we'd bought, and they kind of fixed it up. And this one part of the shopping center was unfinished. It was just a shell, just concrete, red iron, steel, rebar. And that was where the kids area was. I was like, hey kids, go over there and play. Don't impale yourself on the rebar, be safe. And so we did that. And so I remember that. I remember on Wednesday night, we had like a midweek Wednesday night service. I was like late elementary, early middle school. I remember playing football in the parking lot at night. And the only time we would stop the game was when cars were coming and going, had to find parking spots. Now I cannot even imagine if someone came to our church and goes, hey, what do you have for students? Well, we send them in the parking lot to play football with all the cars, but don't worry, it's pretty safe. So think about your early church memory. And my guess is good, bad, or maybe non-existent for you. If that doesn't inform, that at least shapes your thoughts about church, your expectations about church, your hope for what church will do for you. And if you can for just a second, push all of those aside. And I want to go back and recenter, recalibrate on the very first church. Last week we looked how it started, and God used a guy named Simon Peter who struggled with fear and failure, and he preached, and 3,000 people got saved and joined the church that day. And those 3,000 people didn't have any previous church backgrounds. There wasn't a church down the street to talk about and look and compare. There weren't books written about church. They had zero church experience, but they started the very first church. And we're going to look at what they did and how they operated and what their life was like. Because what I hope this pandemic and virus that you and I are living through, what I hope it has reminded us today about church is that church isn't just something that we go to, but rather it's something that we're a part of. Church isn't just something that you and I go to for 1 hour and 1 day a week, but it's really something that you and I are a part of. It's not a building, it's a gathering, a group of people. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at that very first church, that very first group of people and how they acted. Acts chapter 2, if you've got a Bible, and I want to start in verse 42, and here's what it says. It says, all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship and to sharing in meals, including the Lord's Supper, and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over them all, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. And all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. They sold their property and possessions and shared the money with those in need. They worshiped together at the temple each day, met in homes for the Lord's Supper, and shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all the while praising God, enjoying the goodwill of all the people. And each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who were being saved. That is the very first church. It has nothing to do with the building that they met in or what denomination they came from. It had everything to do with this group of people coming together and going, Jesus is both Lord and Messiah. So much good stuff in those 6 verses, but there are 2 big words I want you to grasp from these 6 verses in that very first church. The 2 words are consistency and community. Consistency and community. The very first part of verse 42 says, all the believers devoted themselves. All the believers, community, and the word devoted in the original language means consistently diligent. Consistently diligent. So you have community of believers, consistently diligent. So as you think about church, don't think about buildings or denominations. Think about this very first group of people and their consistency and the community that they had. So let's talk about consistency in your life and in mine. What I want you to understand is that when it came to church, when it came to Christianity, when it came to following Jesus, it wasn't a one-time event. It wasn't like they heard a great sermon, that's awesome. It became a way of life for them. It became something that they became consistently diligent at, habits that they formed in their life. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, right, with the right people and inviting people into their homes, helping out one another, and to their prayer life. So my question for you today is simply this: is what is one consistent faith habit that you can start today? Think about your life. What is one consistent faith habit that you can start today? Because I think now more than ever, you and I have a whole lot of free time and space in our hearts and in our minds. And so as you think about your life and your walk, what is one consistent faith habit that you can start today that you know you need to start? Just go to verse 42 and start there. Pick one there. Maybe for some of you, and you really need to understand the truth and the Word of God and what it says for your life. Maybe you need to surround yourself with the right people that encourage you to the things of God. Maybe for some of you, you need to open up your hearts and your eyes to help and minister to those around you. Maybe for some of you, it's your prayer life. Maybe your prayer life consists of before meals and when you need a raise at work. And maybe you need to develop your prayer life. Maybe it's starting a journal. Maybe it's listening to worship music. I don't know what it is for you. But when you think about your walk with the Lord, when you think about being a part of a gathering of believers, when you think about being a part of a church, you need to think about consistency in your life, forming the right faith habits. And you know this, and I know this, and it's true about our life. But if you think about life, marriage, parenting, work, finances, health, big changes come from little decisions made over time. Big changes come from little decisions made over time. So you don't go from a dysfunctional marriage to a wonderful marriage overnight. You don't go from spoiled brat kids to sweet angel kids overnight. You don't go from being unemployed to being the CEO of the company overnight. You don't go from being broke to having enough money to retire overnight. You don't go from being out of shape to being able to run a marathon overnight. All of those changes take little decisions over time. It's the same for your life and mine when it comes to our faith habits. Those little bitty decisions over time make massive changes in our life. They heard the good news of Jesus. They believed. They gathered together. The church was started, and their habits and their lives began to change. So what is one faith habit, that consistent faith habit that you can begin today? Little decisions that will change your life forever. Second word I want you to focus on is the word community. Community. Now let's just talk about the word community for a minute. Let's break it down. It's something common that people are unified around. Something common that they are unified around. Now we're out here in this gorgeous backyard with a swimming pool. The swimming pool is nice, but I really want you to focus on this fire pit. Now I love a good fire pit. If you know me well, I love being around a fire pit. And my guess is, maybe you have a fire pit in your yard, maybe you don't, but my guess is you probably have sat around this fire pit. I think this is a wonderful illustration for community. If you think about a fire pit, I love circle fire pits because people can gather all around this circle from all different walks of life, ages and stages, different wealth categories, and they're all focused on the fire. They're all focused on something common. They're unified around something common. When you think about the church community, think about different people from all walks of life, different ages and stages and different wealth categories, education categories, but Jesus is at the center. And so through the highs and lows and ups and downs, that faith community is unified around the common thing of Jesus, the death, burial, and resurrection, and that he was their Lord and Messiah. So 3,000 people came together that day. Now, I am confident that when you get 3,000 human beings together, I'm confident that there were certain human beings that had, let's just say, difficult personalities. And you know the type of personalities that I'm talking about. But there were 3,000 people. You're certainly going to have difficult personalities. Different walks of life, different ages and stages, different wealth categories, all that kind of stuff. But they came together unified, not around a hobby, not around an interest, not around a wealth category, but around Jesus Christ. And so you think about the church and you think about community, Jesus is at the center, and you're gathered around, locking arms around Jesus, living life through the highs and through the lows. And what I love about a fire pit, is that when you have people around it, you can talk about really in-depth, super serious things, like struggles that you're going through, world problems, but you can also talk about lighthearted things, sports, weather, or you don't even have to talk at all. You can just stare at the fire. It's the beauty of the fire pit. It's the same with Jesus Christ in your faith community. When you're centered around Him, boy, you can walk through some of life's difficult things together. You can talk about some really fun, lighthearted things together, or you can just be there for one another. But when Jesus is at the center, that's the thing that you're commonly unified around. And so here's my question for you, and my question for me is, what does your faith community look like? What does your faith community look like? And if you think about your faith community going, well, I don't think it really exists. If you don't have a faith community that you're part of, individuals that you gather around, living life's highs and lows, but centered around Jesus, I'm telling you, you're missing out on one of life's richest, most fulfilling blessings. Like when you live through highs and lows, pandemic, no pandemic, through kids, through financial issues, all of that stuff, but centered around Jesus, there are just fewer things in life that are more richly satisfying than a group of people locking arms, living lives, highs and lows, centered around Jesus. So if you don't have a faith community, I cannot encourage you enough to have one. So what does your faith community look like? And if you're part of one, man, I would just evaluate going, what does it look like? How do we operate? If you look at this faith community, what I love about it is they share their meals with great joy and generosity. Now, in my opinion, I think Christians should be the most joy-filled, hopeful, generous people on the planet. I mean, y'all, we serve a risen Savior. And so these 3,000 people understood that, and all of a sudden their hearts and homes were filled with joy and generosity and the goodwill of all the people. There was what I refer to as almost like this holy euphoria. Going, Jesus from Nazareth, He's both Lord and Messiah. He death, burial, and resurrection. So their lives begin to center around Him. And through the highs and lows, and whether they were persecuted or not, boy, they would center their lives, lock arms with Jesus at the center. So what does your faith community look like? Again, all of our church backgrounds are different. Some good, some bad, some non-existent. Different denominations, different faith upbringings. But if you go back to the very first church, it wasn't centered around a denomination, wasn't centered around a building. It was centered around Jesus, this common group of people, and all of a sudden their consistency in their life and in their faith habits changed. They began to act different. They began to speak different. They began to seek different things in their life. And they were commonly unified around Jesus. And so, yeah, I get it. For the past 6, 7 weeks, I don't know, all the weeks kind of run together for me. I think it's 7 weeks. Our church doors have been closed. But the good news is the church is still alive and well, because it has nothing to do with the church building and everything to do with people centered around Jesus. I'm going to finish with 2 stories. 2 stories that are separated by about 2 weeks in time and about 800 miles geographically, but how you and I are tied so strongly together to them. The first one happened a couple of weeks ago. I was sent a text message by one of our staff members, and it popped up on my phone. I looked at it, and it was an article from the Forsyth County News. And I looked at it, it had a little picture link on there, and I looked at it, and I was like, hey, those people, they're a part of our church. And I clicked on the link. There's a group of people in our church that saw a need, saw something that they wanted to do. They wanted to bless their community, so they wanted to take meals to Northside Hospital and just thank those frontline workers for being on the front line and fighting the virus and really risking their lives. And so they got together with other church people, and they raised $1,400, and they go to Socks Love Barbecue, and they buy barbecue for all the workers there and begin to feed them for $1,400. And that was not my idea. That was not a staff meeting where we got together going, hey, we should get this. It was just people going, hey, we're unified around Jesus. We're locking arms. And so let's begin to bless our community. Church doors are closed, but the church is still alive and well. That's story number 1. Now, the second story happened 2 weeks later and 800 miles away in New York City. And this week I got a text from a pastor buddy of mine because you see, 2 weeks ago, because of your generosity, we were able to financially bless different church planters around the country that had been affected by this virus. One of the church plants was in New York City. I have never met that pastor, still haven't met him face to face, but I was introduced to him and said, hey, this guy's doing an incredible work. If you can bless him, that would be awesome. So I called him up 2 weeks ago, introduced myself, said, hey, here's who I'm with. We want to just send you some financial blessing. He was blown away. Just goes, oh my goodness, thank you so much. This week, He sends me a text and he goes, hey man, I just want to let you know what is going on here in New York City. And he sends me this video of what he and his wife are doing. So this happened 800 miles away, a pastor I've never met, pastor I'm guessing you have never met, but because of the church, because we're unified around Jesus, we're locking arms, you and I were a part of this. And I want you to watch and see the good things that God is doing through this local church in New York City. Take a look.
Hey guys, we are so excited today because we have a special surprise for a special group of amazing people.
Here in New York City, just a few blocks away from us, and actually like 4 blocks from where we meet, Samaritan's Purse, which is a relief organization, a Christian relief organization that goes all over the world in relief and disaster zones to provide help and assistance, has set up a field hospital here with 60 beds where they're treating and caring for COVID-19 patients and helping people recover to serve our city, to serve the people right here, like in our neighborhood.
The people that go in our community with our church, the people that serve us at the grocery store. It's like, this is our community. So today we are going to surprise them with coffee and French pastries from one of our favorite neighborhood coffee spots, Frenchie's. And we're so excited.
At the end of the day, like, our city needs help.
Yep.
And we need people to step up, and these people have stepped up and they're sacrificing of their own to be here. And so we're excited that as a church, we get to rally around them and provide these French pastries, the coffee as an afternoon kick and pick me up and say thank you so much for what they're doing. So Samaritan's Purse is working with Mount Sinai East, which is literally like right over here. And Mount Sinai East predominantly serves, you know, the East Harlem, Spanish Harlem neighborhood, as well as kind of like the most northern parts of the Upper East Side. So this is literally like right in our backyard, people who are connected to where we live, people who are connected to what we do. And so it's a privilege that they're here serving, and it's a privilege that we get to serve them.
We just finished dropping off all the coffee and pastries to our friends at Samaritan's Purse.
Yeah, we were able to make a delivery of coffee and like 60-something pastries for all of their staff and volunteers. Some of the people in our church actually even wrote thank you cards, and the kids drew pictures. And it was cool, like we were delivering them, they were so excited and they were so grateful for it, but they were like thanking us as we were trying to thank them. And they were super stoked about, you know, our generosity and willingness to serve them in that way. And so we just want to say thank you to all of you who are a part of this.
Yeah, thank you for giving. It is because of you guys that we can do amazing things like this. So thank you from the bottom of our heart.
Thank you very, very much.
Isn't that amazing? Like, that is just so cool. And you and I are a part of that. And this week, when he sent me that, he sent me this text. And he said this. He said, we're providing coffee, pastries, and thank you notes every week to the Samaritan's Purse staff and volunteers working in the Central Park Field Hospital as a thank you. And the funds you guys gave to our church are helping finance this endeavor. You and I, we're a part of that. We've never met him this side of heaven, but because of Jesus at the center, we'll lock arms together. And so, yeah, the church building technically is closed, and you and I haven't gone to church in 7 weeks, but man, we are still a part of the church, and the church is still alive and well and moving. And so when you think about church, I get your past upbringing, good, bad, non-existent, it begins to shape or form. But if you go back to that very first group of people, their habits began to change and they're commonly unified around Jesus. That is my prayer for us as a church, as a body of believers, that our lives and our faith habits would begin to change and that we'd be unified around Jesus, locking arms from all different walks of life, but with Jesus at the center. Let me pray for us. Father, I thank you for who you are. Lord, my prayer is that you would continue to be the center of who we are. You continue moving in our midst and in our people's lives, whether here locally or across the nation or across the globe. Lord, my prayer is that we would lock arms and we'd make you the center of our lives and the center of our community. Now, I get most of you probably that are watching, you've trusted Jesus at some point, but I'm also pretty confident that there's some people watching that you're not quite sure what's at the center of your life. And this whole virus pandemic has shaken you to the core. And the good news is that you can experience that same joy and generosity that these 3,000 people did because of what Jesus did, his life, death, burial, and resurrection. If you'd place your faith in him, your life would be forever changed. And you'd experience that hope and that joy that you cannot possibly imagine. And if you would like that, if you want to receive that, Just say something like this, but what's important is that you mean it from your heart, and your life will be forever changed. Just say, today, Jesus, I trust you. I ask your forgiveness for all my sins. Please fill me with your Spirit. Teach me from your word, and help me to live for you from this day forward. Thank you for my salvation. Amen. Father, I pray for all of us. Pray that you'd go before us, guide us, lead us, and we'll follow you every step of the way.
Were creation suddenly articulate with 1,000 tongues to lift one cry? From north to south and east to west, we'd hear Christ be magnified. The whole earth echoing his imminence, his name would burst from sea to sky, from rivers to the mountain tops, we'd hear Christ be magnified. Let his praise arise. Christ be magnified in me. And oh, Christ be magnified from the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. Christ be magnified. Every creature finds its inmost melody, and every human heart its native cry. Then in one ear I should hymn of praise, we'll sing Christ be magnified, oh, be magnified. And oh, Christ be magnified, let his praise arise. Christ be magnified in me. And oh, Christ be magnified from the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. I won't bow to idols, I'll stand strong and worship you. If it puts me in the fire, I'll rejoice 'cause you're there too. I won't be formed by feelings, I hold fast to what is true. If the cross brings transformation, you can't hang me there with you. Because death is just a doorway into resurrection life. And if I join you in your sufferings, then I'll join you when you rise. And when you return in glory with all the angels and the saints, my heart will still be singing and my song will be the same. Oh, Christ be magnified, let his praise arise. Christ be magnified in me. And oh, Christ be magnified, the altar of my life. Oh, Christ be magnified in me.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. If you said that prayer of salvation that I led you in at the end, that's a really big deal. And first of all, I'm so happy that you did. And I would love for you to do us a favor and let us know. Let one of our online hosts know. Just go, hey, I prayed that prayer. And they're going to celebrate with you. They're going to answer any questions that you may have. They're going to give you some resources because we don't want you to walk this life of faith alone. We want you to be a part of a faith community centered around Jesus. It's a really big deal. So if you prayed that prayer of salvation for the very first time, let us know and we want to celebrate with you. And as always, again, if you would click that share button there, let your friends and family know where you went to church today. Thank you so much for joining us. On behalf of myself, our online host, we're so glad that you're here. We'll see you next week here at our online church from Mountain Lake.